The European Union Turkey Civic Commission condemns Turkey and demands the liberation of Kurdish leader Abdullah Öcalan. Members of the European Parliament also demand sanctions against Turkey to push for democracy. The 19th International Conference on the European Union, Turkey, the Middle East and the Kurds was held in the European Parliament on 26th and 27th of March 2025. If Turkey wants to join the European Union, a long list of economic and political criteria must be fulfilled. Politicians, lawyers, researchers and journalists attended panels to discuss the issue of Turkish policy today. Speaker Tuncer Bakirhan, co-chair of the pro-Kurdish DEM party, the third largest party in Turkey, said that his party was ready to operate in favor of a peace process inside the National Assembly of Turkey. He also said that Devlet Bahçeli, the leader of the far-right MHP party, was taking initiatives, but that Erdogan himself must participate. For Bakirhan, the peace process is at an early stage. We want concrete steps, he said. We want all the political prisoners to be freed, and we do not want trustees to be appointed to replace our democratically elected mayors. Öcalan's call for the laying down of arms has been intensively discussed.
His call actually referred to a parallel processes of disarmament and of the PKK and the end of the armed struggle and a democratization of Turkey. Without the democratization of Turkey, it's unthinkable that the PKK will disarm.
Members of the European Parliament are in favor of Turkish membership to the European Union, but on the condition of a democratization of the Turkish state. If not, the EU should take measures to put Turkey under pressure.
The most important thing Turkey can do is to become a democracy, to accept the freedom of speech, to don't imprison mayors, to release all the political prisoners. That's an absolute precondition. And as long as that does not exist in Turkey, the accession to the EU is not on the table. I think we need to put political and also economical pressure on Turkey. We have to speak about sanctions against those who are responsible.
Turkey should not be allowed any new financial incentives by the EU. EU should be ready to cut Turkey's access to some of the programs they have access to now. And the EU should also introduce sanctions as a way to put pressure on Erdogan to release political prisoners. For Turkey to become an EU member, it will never happen in a situation where you see this level of autocracy in Turkey.
The EU member states and the Commission needs to dare to use condemnation, which I haven't heard until now. The second is also, if this continues, EU needs to use its sanction mechanism against those who are behind the decisions on imprisonment of political prisoners.
L'Union européenne déjà cède trop, de mon point de vue, au chantage d'Erdogan. C'est-à-dire que là, la menace, c'est d'Erdogan de dire attention, on va faire venir plein de réfugiés en Europe si vous ne nous écoutez pas. Et au contraire, je crois que l'Union européenne est la première à chaque fois. À chaque plénière, chaque mois à Strasbourg, on vote des résolutions internationales pour dénoncer les violations des droits de l'homme aux quatre coins du monde. Et là, il y a des violations des droits de l'homme manifestes, des droits humains manifestes, de l'état de droit manifeste en Turquie. Et donc l'Union européenne doit faire la même chose que ce qu'elle fait pour la Hongrie de Viktor Orban, c'est-à-dire menacer de couper les subventions.
The final resolution of the 19th EU TCC stated, among many other points, that Turkey must stop its attacks on North and East Syria and the Kurdistan region of Iraq. Turkey must also free Abdullah Öcalan and support the search for a political solution for the Kurdish question. The final statement asked for the Kurdistan Workers' Party, PKK, to be lifted from the terror list. Turkish European Union membership is still on the table, but by putting opposition leaders, mayors and journalists in prison, the Turkish government is itself closing the door towards the European Union, and this despite the peace efforts of Abdullah Öcalan. Chris Den Hand, Medya News, European Parliament, Brussels.